Hi, everyone, and welcome to Dates, Weights, and Protein Shakes. I'm Leanne, and I'm a weightlifter.
I'm James, and I'm a powerlifter.
And this is the podcast where we talk shit about lifting, relationships, life, and everything in between.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Dates, Weights, and Protein Shakes. And it's a very exciting day today, isn't it, Leanne?
It is. We are going to Craigie Strength,
Craigie Strength.
our favourite place on planet Earth.
Ooh. Big claim.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how today goes. Might be good, might be bad.
Why is it an exciting day?
We are going to max out some of our lifts with the Craigie Strength crew. So, I mean, I'm technically not part of Craigie Strength, but I think honorary member
of Craigie Strength.
Basically, James wouldn't be able to get there unless I drove. So I think Craig's kind of saying, you can just join in as well because you're going to be there.
I mean, you did get a personal invitation from Craigie of Craigie Strength.
Yeah, did I?
Yeah. He said Leanne is invited. I've got the WhatsApp.
There you go.
I think it's because you've got very similar numbers, and he wants a competitor. Yeah.
We do have a side. So basically, we're going for a weightlifters versus powerlifters day, which very apt considering the podcast we do. So it's based on the percentage of your max that you can get. So if you get over your current max in whatever lifts you're doing, then you get, you're in the green.
Yeah. If your max is 100 and you get 105, you get 5 points.
Yep.
If your max is 100 and you get 95, you lose 5 points.
For your team.
And it's all kind of aggregated together across the team, which I love because if you're an experienced lifter, it's a chance to max out, which is always fun. And you're not doing it on your own. You're doing it with a team and supportive people.
Yeah.
If you're a new lifter, you're just getting fuck tons of points for your team and you feel like a top shagger.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's an individual prize for the person who gets the most kind of percentage increase. So that's probably going to go to someone who is, pretty new starting out, which I think is really motivating and nice.
Yeah, exactly.
But then on the sidelines, Craig and I also have a little bet around our clean.
Yeah, the Scottish Titan versus the malnourished lesbian. Is really it's what he calls himself. Is I think the real kind of title, the main event you were using it.
Yeah, I mean, just Craig and I are going to be interested in this, but
I'm interested.
Yeah, you'll watch.
And I think maxing out is like one of my favorite days because it's with a group of people is really nice because everyone's very supportive. Yeah. It's much better and easier than going to the gym on your own and trying to do a max lift. And it's also not big and scary like doing a competition.
Exactly.
It's like a little bit scary, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think it's where you can truly test out, what your abilities are, because you're not constricted by having 3 attempts for each lift, which is really nice. You're in a really supportive environment.
Especially for you, because you love to miss your first snatch.
I love to miss things 3 times in a row and then get it on the 4th one. So,
not great in a sport that only gives you 3 attempts.
No. I don't know. Who knows? I'm getting better. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely do a report on that once that's complete. But...
And how are you feeling today? Are you feeling strong and sexy? Strong and sexy are the 2 important things to feel when going for a max out.
Yeah, I'm always feeling sexy.
Good.
That's a given.
Yeah.
Strong. Not too strong. I'm quite sore in general. I've had quite a heavy week in the gym, so it's just we're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
No expectations,
And what lifts are you maxing out and why?
So I'm maxing out my snatch and my clean. I'm not doing my jerk because I maxed that out last week, which was really quite silly because I got a 6 kilo PB on my jerk last week. So I probably should have done that.
That's 6 points you're throwing away for your team.
Cool.
That's not great for the team.
No.
If the weightlifters lose, I will be telling them that.
No, you can't.
and throwing you under the bus.
I'm not going to be the person responsible for us losing. But yeah, I want to see what I can do with my clean because I've cleaned 100 quite recently, but I feel like I can do a bit more. So we're going to see how that goes. And then my snatch, I'm kind of just interested to see what will happen if I do a full snatch and try to go over 80 kilos. So yeah, those are my lifts.
If you go to depth, I reckon you could get more than 80 kilos.
Potentially.
Big if. I
I like to power. But James, what lifts are you doing today?
I'm doing bench.
Yep, of course.
The thing is,
150? 150 bench?
I literally said in the last episode, I'm not maxing out for 6 months. And this is what Craig and I agreed. And then Craig and I were having a phone call. We were setting, goals. And he's like, I've got my event on the 19th of August. And I was like, okay, I'm not maxing out. We just agreed not to do that. He's like, no. You can max out your bench. And I would do many things for the opportunity to max out my bench, like many silly things. I was like, yeah, I'll max out my bench.
Yeah.
So I did what I do. I did a couple of triples at 130 this week.
Easy peasy, yeah.
So I think 145 is there. I'd like to put 150 on the bar and see what happens.
Even can we just put it on, even if you're failing the ones before that? Just to see what happens.
That's not how gravity works.
I just want to see it. Just you hold it. Just do some
I've held 150 before though. Because I used to do top down benches, which was a team effort really.
Yeah.
It's like you put extra weight on the bar. So if your max is 130, you do 150, bring it down for 5 seconds, take like 40 kilos off and bench it up. It's a good way to kind of prepare the CNS for a max.
Horrible for everyone else who had to help you set that
Especially
up.
when it was Lizzie's fault. She was giving me like...
Yeah, it was.
it got me good at bench. And then Craig's also put in deadlift, which I'm concerned about. Because I've not deadlifted above 200 since Redbeard.
That just means you're fresh and ready.
Yeah. I think the thing is, if I get like 145 on bench and then like 225 on deadlift, then I'm kind of net equal, especially given I haven't really touched a heavy deadlift for a long time.
Yeah.
And my whoop tells me
introduction to the whoop
tells me I have a recovery score of 36 today. So the recovery score goes up to 100.
You're 36% recovered.
Yeah.
And about to go max out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if people don't know about the Whoop, the Whoop.
The whoop.
It's a health and fitness tracker.
Yep.
And I'm currently trialing it. You can get a one month trial to see how it goes. And it tracks your sleep, recovery, and strain. And strain is not kind of like calories burn. It's the amount of stress you put your body through.
Yeah.
So it uses your blood oxygen levels, your skin temperature, and all these other things to assess how much work you're putting your body through.
So it's like, even if you're really stressed at work, for example,
that will be strain.
Which I think is really good, because when you only take into account your training sessions, you're missing a whole other part of your life, which can really impact how you train, how you recover, and how you're going to perform. So I think that's really cool that it can do all of that.
And especially like if you're a gym person, tracking your heart rate in the gym is kind of missing a big part of what you're training, which is your muscles.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And it's been pretty accurate so far. So I had a couple of really good days in the gym, and I had a high recovery score on those days.
Yep.
Which is a good thing.
Yep.
And then on Thursday, I didn't have a great recovery score. So I didn't have huge expectations. And going in, not expecting loads from yourself, I was pleasantly surprised that I did a bit better than I expected.
That's good.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
And then my recovery score was shit yesterday and it's shit today.
Oh.
And it's because it aggregates together the strain and the recovery and your sleep. And yesterday, even though I wasn't training, I was out and about seeing people, went to bed a little bit late. And even though I had a good sleep, it wasn't enough to offset what I've done throughout the week.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So the Whoop, I've only had it for a week. Lots of people I know really like it. I'll check back in maybe in 2 weeks and let you know how it's going.
Yeah.
But I woke up this morning feeling both strong and sexy.
Brilliant.
But my Whoop is telling me I'm not either of those things.
Interesting.
So we'll see how
I'm intrigued by that.
The thing is, with the recovery score, it's not saying like don't train or you need to have a rest day. It's saying kind of think about having a rest day. Okay. Don't overexert yourself.
Okay.
So
don't max out.
Well, the thing is, if I just kind of do the max out and like no other stuff.
Yes.
Because it's a kind of relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
It might be fine, but then I definitely shouldn't be doing anything tomorrow.
Right, okay.
Or I'm going to hurt myself. I think with any of these kind of fitness trackers, it's just an additional thing.
Yeah.
So if my max out doesn't go great today, I kind of know why.
Why? Yeah.
And if it goes well, it's like, right, let's stop kind of running the risk of hurting myself.
Yeah, which I think is very good for you as someone who doesn't ever like to stop.
No.
And would happily train 7 days a week
Yes.
if you could. And were allowed to.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, oh, you're feeling good today, maybe give yourself a bit of a push. You're feeling bad today, maybe think about training tomorrow or training the next day.
Yeah.
And not pushing yourself. If you really need to train today, do something light. So yeah, that's what's going on today. We'll be going and maxing out, and I'll update you guys on how the whoop is going in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
I would like to bring back a fan favorite section.
What is it?
I would like to bring back Gym X.
Love Gym X, okay?
We went through a phase of doing lots of Gym X, and I would say it got quite silly and a little bit out of control.
Yeah, and I think we also just ran out and started talking about anything.
Yeah, and it just kind of sounded like we hated going to the gym. So we put that to one side. And I always thought that we'd bring Gym X back when something kind of organically grew as a hatred inside of myself.
Wow.
And
this is intense. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to say that I'm guilty of doing this thing.
Okay, so you're a fucking ick.
Yeah, I icked myself out. But I didn't realise I was being icky.
When you realised it was an ick, were you the person doing it?
No, I saw someone else do it on Instagram. And I thought, what a fucking lemon. And then I went, oh shit, I did that.
What is it?
Okay. So it's when you go to the gym and you've got your knee sleeves on.
Yes.
And you do your set.
Yes.
And then maybe you've got quite a tight pair of knee sleeves on. Maybe you're running low on time. Maybe you don't want to go through the effort of yanking your knee sleeves off. Yeah. So you just pull them down and kind of invert them, if you will, and then just let them flap around your ankles. It's like so unattractive.
Yeah.
So I
oh my god. Okay, wait, I've got a story after that. Yeah, go ahead.
So because I squat in my barefoot shoes.
Yeah.
The other day I did my squats and then it was really hot. I had leggings on.
Yeah.
Our knee sleeves definitely need to be replaced because one of them is looser than the other. And
they're two completely different sizes.
Yeah.
SPD, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I need to send them a strongly worded email. Yeah. And one comes up quite easily, but the other one is fucking torture.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I was running on time because I need to get back to work for a meeting. So I just kind of yoinked them down and just left them there.
Yeah.
And I've done this other times as well. And I've gone and started benching.
Oh my God.
The thing is, because the barefoot shoes are quite low profile, it's like you're walking, it's like you're Steve Carell in Crazy Stupid Love. You know, when he's walking around in his New Balance and he's like stepping on the back of his jeans. That's what I think I look like. And benching while wearing knee sleeves, like wearing knee sleeves on your elbows while benching is bad.
Yeah,
wearing them just flapping around your ankles is unacceptable. And I've done that. And then I saw a video of someone else doing it.
Yeah.
And it made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
So it really, actually, once you've got your knee sleeves down, like by your ankles, it's minimal effort to get them off.
Yeah,
once they're off around the knees, like it takes 15 seconds. I wasn't saving any time.
Yeah.
I was just looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
Take them off. Let them air out. They listen to me. Your knee sleeves need to be aired out. Yeah. Yeah.
They fucking stink.
They all stink. I don't care. I don't care if you put them in the wash recently. They stink.
You don't put them in the wash.
You shouldn't put them in the wash, but some people do.
Do they?
Yeah, because they smell.
I feel like hand washing at best is what you should do with them.
Or you can get some of that like shoe spray.
Yeah.
Spray some of that on them. But look at me. Air your knee sleeves out.
To be fair, I need to do it with my shoes because they fucking stink at the moment. So it's quite bad. Yeah, so I have definitely done something related to this.
Okay.
And
have you pulled your sleeves up?
If you're pulling your sleeves up over your thigh, they are too loose.
You wear a pair of sleeves. So I bought a pair of large sleeves.
Yeah.
And Leanne had a pair of medium sleeves.
Yeah.
And then I got told by everyone that my large sleeves do nothing for me. And I literally bought them because I'm a large man. So I went.
But you measure like
but you want to go a size down to get the benefit out. So Leanne and I now share a pair of mediums.
So
but
grim.
Leanne definitely needs a small.
Yeah, but every time James comes back from the gym with them, they are soaking wet.
I had them out though.
I haven't used them. I haven't used them in like the past 2 months since you've been using them because I don't want to touch them.
They make them that wet. Yeah, anyway. So Leanne's got a pair of smalls, but you could definitely pull the mediums up around your thighs.
No, I couldn't.
Your thigh is the same size as my knee.
No, I'm actually offended.
You could probably pull my large ears up around your knees, like up there.
Potentially. My thighs are skinny, but they're not that skinny.
You've got very long.
I have very long, my legs are very long and have a very tiny little body, which is not ideal for weightlifting. Wrong sport. But anyway.
That was a tangent.
So I've done something similar, but I have intentionally worn my knee sleeves around the shin area.
Yes.
And this was for protection.
So actually, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Right. That is serving a function. And
do you reckon that's better than just wearing them for
I
fashion?
have no... Because a lot of I've seen like strong men and stuff do that because when you're doing loads of reps and when you have a really knurlingy bar, you are gonna tear the shit out of your.
Yeah, I mean my shins are permanently scarred from weightlifting now. So I mean, I don't wear them anymore because I just wear leggings all the time, and that I've changed my technique to be better. So I'm just dragging up my legs.
But I think it's like strong men who are wearing suits because you've really got to sit down and pull the bar in close. Yeah, they'll wear them to protect the shins.
Yeah, fair enough.
And also, if you're doing like an event that's like deadlift for reps, you are just going to start tearing up.
Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself.
So I think that's fine. It's not an ick because you also don't kind of look like Steve Carell from Crazy Stupid Love or Medieval Pennant.
It looks like you're wearing like leg warmers.
Yeah, but it's functional. Okay. And you're not just being lazy. Yeah. And you're doing an exercise that it makes sense for. Yeah. If you had them around your shins and you doing military press, that's nuts. That's weird. Or bench. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. So I think that's fine. But if you've just stopped your squats and you're going and benching and you've got them flat around your ankles, it's icky. Yeah. I don't like it.
I agree. So, James, I wanted to bring up a topic of discussion that I thought was quite interesting that I've seen floating about on the deep, dark web.
Oh, I don't like the internet. Yeah. There's lots of bad things on the internet.
Lots of bad things. The deep, dark web that I'm referring to is TikTok.
Oh, yes, it's bad.
Which I have had to delete off my phone.
Again.
Because I'm spending hours on there just scrolling and it's bad for me and my life. Anyway, besides the point. Before I deleted the app, I saw something on my For You page, not sure why it came up as something that they thought I would enjoy. It was this woman who was going to be getting married.
So, congratulations, lady.
Congratulations, very exciting. And as part of her preparation for getting married, she was getting some Botox done.
Okay.
And quite normal for some people to want to do that. You know,
into that. That's fine.
Yeah, do what you want. We're not judging. What I did judge, though, was the fact that she was getting Botox in her traps to dissolve them.
What?
So apparently...
No. What?
So apparently this is something that many women are now doing. Yeah, many. Because I did a little bit of investigating after I saw this.
How many is video. Many?
I don't know how many.
Like thousands?
No, there was maybe like 15 videos or something that I saw.
15?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's just a really interesting thing to even think about.
I don't understand it.
Right, okay.
Because, Botox.
I'm getting them out.
Botox.
Yeah.
Right. You normally get that in your lips.
So Botox.
And that makes them bigger.
What I could understand from the videos were Botox is basically a muscle relaxer. So it's not like lip injections where it plumps up your lips. I think that's something different.
Oh, because I was being like, surely you're plumping up your traps.
No.
More.
Totally. No, so it relaxes the muscles. So where you see people who've had Botox, generally they can't move parts of their face because the muscles have been relaxed so that it gets rid of the wrinkles, and I think prevents wrinkles in the future as well.
Okay.
So it's a pretty normal thing for, I guess, some women to do. And yeah, so basically women do not like having big traps now. And they have decided that they want to get Botox in their traps to literally make them like, so where you can see I have quite big traps. So instead of having like a bump here, it literally just goes down and straight across.
This upsets me.
It upset me too. That's why I want to talk about it.
I don't like it.
No. And I feel like it's just yet another thing that women have to do to meet this beauty standard that is just unattainable for a regular
why'd
person.
you have to look like a coat hanger?
Yeah. I mean, and it was just mental because I think I've got a lot of wedding things on my TikTok because we're getting married next year, and
Shit, yeah, we are.
quite an important thing happening in our lives. And I think, you know, as a muscular woman, I think there's been a lot of kind of internal battle in my head around what I consider to be beautiful and accepting myself for me and kind of being happy with how I look and being happy with what my body can do for me. And we've talked about this so much, like I think on and off the podcast. But it just feels like another thing that is, you know, not beautiful for women to have trap muscles.
Yeah, to be able to pick things up.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, having traps allows me to do the sport that I am so passionate about and I love.
You medically, by a medical professional, have been told you have well-developed traps.
No. Right, okay, so this is something I need to clear up. I've been told I have overdeveloped traps, which is absolute bullshit, by the way. That is not a thing.
That's why I say well-developed.
Yes, well, exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing about being overdeveloped. And I feel like this has been a theme over the past couple of months. There's maybe been 3 instances where people who don't know me, some who have come up to me in public, have said something about my body. And it's like, what are you doing commenting on someone else's body, whether you think it's a compliment or not? It's not in your place to do that. And I find it really like disheartening when those sorts of things happen, because it draws attention back to myself and it feels like it's putting my body as the forefront of what my worth is as a person.
And even if you weren't thinking about it beforehand, now you are thinking about it. Like, why do I look like that? Is that wrong? And I think it's something that is perhaps new for you, but for years, for me, because I am a larger gentleman. And I think because there's a culture of like gym lads who wear like tight clothes, have big muscles and act and think a certain way, people kind of group me into that. Absolutely. Because it is hard for me to find clothes that aren't tight, and if I don't wear tight clothes, I look like I haven't put any effort into getting dressed. Yeah. People be like, oh, James, all your t-shirts are tight. Oh, look how big look how big your arms are. You're going to be able to get through that doorway. And it's like people I don't know, like people I work with who aren't my friends from work, just commenting on me. And I was like, imagine I turned around to them and was like, oh, are you going to be able to get your belly through that doorway? Like, if the shoe was on the other foot, it's fucking unacceptable. Yeah. And people just don't need to comment on the way you look. Yeah. And unless you're friends and, you know, you have that relationship. Yeah,
it's very different.
Like, I'm someone I go to the gym with, and that's kind of where our mutual interests lie. Yeah. If you're a random person, just keep those thoughts in your head.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting because I'm not saying that your experience is any different. I feel like you've had this for a much longer time than I have as well. But it's been especially when I've been wearing tops like this, which actually show my arm muscles and my traps and my back. Yeah. I'm a very muscular person. I always have been. And I used to not even want to get my arms out because that was like a massive insecurity of mine. But I do feel like for men, the connotations behind the comments that you get aren't always negative, whether they feel that way or not. And I feel, so I'll give a couple examples of things that have happened to me recently. I've been seeing a physio for my elbow, and he was giving me some massage on my shoulder to try and help it. And when he touched my shoulder, he started comparing it to his and was saying, wow, that's big, isn't it? God, that's not very good. And
and the conversation there is it's not good that you're more muscular than him.
Exactly.
And that it's like he's inadequate because you go to the gym more.
Yeah. And it's like, I just laugh that off because I'm a people pleaser and I don't like to make people feel uncomfortable despite them making me feel uncomfortable. But I think it's just incredible that we have to feel like we're, have to have a say or an opinion on someone else's body and voice that opinion no matter how inappropriate it is. And yeah, it's just crazy.
And I do think it's different for women because women, like the conventional beauty standard for women is not being muscular or strong, whereas I guess for men it is. And so if you are a muscular man, you're like doing the right thing. But if you're not, slim and have glistening skin and champagne belly, I believe it's referred to.
Never heard that before. What's that?
It's like one of those, skinny. Like when it's like a champagne flute. That's like that's what it's called apparently.
It's the men's version of like an hourglass figure then.
No, for a woman.
Oh right, okay, interesting.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for a woman, unless you're like thin but not too thin, you have the right shape but not too much of that.
Here we go. Right. And if you've not seen Barbie, go and watch Barbie or watch America Ferrera's monologue in that, because it literally it embodies the entire struggle that women have where they need to be something but not too much of it. And it's like, it's just tiring to have to consider other people's opinions in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, you have to go to the gym, but the gym can't be part of your personality. Your skin needs to be glistening but not wet. And it's all these things. And I think that is intensely frustrating.
How do you feel when people, because you've been like, when we were in B&Q, that guy, we were asking one of the workers for help and this guy was like, oh, you've been to the gym? I'm a bit scared for you. I feel like you're going to beat me up. Like,
I just don't get it, because it's not something that passes into my mind to see someone and be like, oh, you look X, you look Y. It's just not something I do. And I would say to someone, oh man, you're looking good. Like, and if I know someone's been going to the gym, say, and they're trying to get bigger, I'll be like, oh yeah, man, you're like,
compliment.
As a compliment. And I don't know if in their head they think it's a compliment, but it's a comment. Like, it's a comment. I think the important thing I said there is if I know someone and I know they're doing something, I'll try and build them up. Yeah. If I don't know you, I'm like, oh, you're looking fat. It's like put it the other way around, like, and tell someone that they're looking fat or they're looking, oh, you're looking really skinny. Yeah. Like, don't fucking say that. Yeah. Like, you don't know what's going on in their lives. Like, just, you don't need to. There's so many other things you can say.
Yeah, that's just made me think of one, actually. When I was working in another company than I am now, I was really sick over the weekend. I had norovirus and I was just vomiting everywhere. So I hadn't eaten like 3 days. And I went back to work and one of the guys there said, everyone knew that I'd been ill. And he said, oh, you're looking great. As in, I was looking skinny because I hadn't been eating for 3 days.
Fuck off, man.
And it's just like, these comments are just so unnecessary. And I think that the main thing that bothers me about commenting on my body now, where I'm, muscular, it makes me feel abnormal because you've gone out of your way to comment on a stranger's body in the way that they're looking. And you wouldn't do that, I feel like, in normal circumstances. So therefore, I'm like, oh my God, do I look horrendous for them to have to comment something?
You're by making that comment, you're like othering someone. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is because we look a certain way and you're like presenting yourself as like looking like this and that being a part of your personality. Yeah. It reduces everything else that you bring into that situation. Yeah. And I remember one time someone was like, oh, what are you doing over the weekend? I was like, I read a really good book. And they're like, you read? And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I'm not a fucking meathead. Yeah. Like, there are other things I do other than the couple of hours a day I go to the gym. Yeah. It's quite reductive. And yes, it is. Because you're muscular, you're different and you can't be part of their conversations. Yeah. And you can't do all these other things that like normal people do. Yeah. And I understand that like we've made a choice to make, to look this way. But actually we've made quite a healthy choice and it's something we enjoy. And there are so many other things that we do that we can bring to that. Like, you just don't need to ever, in any circumstance, comment on the way someone looks.
Yeah.
Because there are so many problems. Like, if someone is overweight, it could be something else going on in their lives, like a health condition. Or if someone's seriously underweight, they may be experiencing disordered eating.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, you don't know why someone looks like this way.
Yeah.
And it's such an insignificant part of their personality that you just don't ever need to comment on it.
Yeah. And I think the reason I want to talk about this is just because it's not because I feel like I'm like a victim, or I feel like it's, you know, something that I am entirely offended by, which means that I can't like go on with my day-to-day life. I think it's just an interesting conversation to have when, you know, there's so many different ideals and stereotypes and kind of things that you need to conform to as a person, and how you can be made to feel kind of outside of that when someone just says something, you know, that they think is really insignificant. So I thought it was an interesting thing to talk about and to get your opinion on it as well, because I know that that's been something that you've experienced as well.
Yeah, and I think if we take it very back to what you started this on, about people getting Botox in their shoulders, I think fundamentally I find that quite upsetting.
Yeah.
That people think they need
to do that.
And that they have to look a certain way, and they won't look as good on a day that's very important to them unless, you know, they pay money for someone to kind of remove probably something that they might have worked quite hard on, or something that is just part of the way they look and part of their natural beauty.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they've been, for a number of reasons, made to think that that part of them isn't nice and that they don't need that. You know, that's quite a sad reflection of where we are in society, that people do feel the need to get these body modifications because they have to look a certain way. And the other thing is, you never see a man going like, I'm going to go and get fillers in my biceps.
Well,
because
they might, but a smaller subset, right?
It's a lot less likely that a man will be like, oh, I need to go and get, you know, fillers in my biceps. Or
that's the equivalent, though, right?
That's
like, women
are
trying to reduce themselves to be as small as they possibly can. Men are expected to be as big as they possibly can. So it's, you know,
and it's like getting a padded suit or something, so it looks like you have more muscles. And I think it's quite sad that people are made to think that way and just not appreciate the way they look, and also that they need to feel that certain way, maybe for their partner.
Exactly.
Like, their partner's not kind of supporting them in feeling worthwhile.
And I think that's another thing that I need to say as well, is that I am so grateful and appreciative that I don't have to feel that way, and that you love me for how I am, and that I don't feel like I have to change myself. And it's like, I just feel very lucky that is the type of person that you are, and that you've kind of made me into this very confident person. So
I think that works both ways. The fundamental part of a relationship is we want the other person to feel like and be the best person of themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's why when they say your traps are overdeveloped, I say, no, they're very well developed.
Very nicely developed.
And, you know, your job is like being strong and, you know, lifting weight. And that you're having well-developed traps allows you to do that.
Exactly,
so it's a great thing. It's a good thing. I feel like we've got quite deep there.
We did,
A departure from our normal silliness.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to talk about some of the maybe less enjoyable parts that come with going to the gym, and just how they affect us, because, you know, gym rats are people too.
I think as well, if anyone's listening who has experienced something like this as well, please share your thoughts. I think it'd be interesting to hear if anyone else has felt this way. Maybe you feel like it's also something that you can't really talk about, because sometimes being muscly, as you know, should be a good thing, but the way that people comment on your body might not feel that good. So if you want to let us know what your experience is, you can find us on Instagram and DM us there, or you can submit your thoughts on our website at datesweightsandproteinshakes.com. We've got a form in there. So just feel free to pop in any thoughts that you've had, any experiences you've had, and we might discuss them next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Dates, Weights and Protein Shakes. As always, we hope you did enjoy. As we're recording this, we realised that our camera may have turned off a couple of times.
We're still not getting it 100%.
Era 3 has some teething problems. Yes. We're using like an actual camera now, and we thought it would film for 15 minutes, so we had a timer, but it seems to have been recording for about 4 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to see how much is actually recorded. There might be some blank moments within
There might be a little
video.
montage of lifting photos. I don't know. I'm going to have to work it out when I edit it.
Yeah.
So if there just has been not our faces in sometimes of the videos, apologies for that.
Sorry.
But audio listeners, you've got it all in Technicolor. And I think a nice mix this episode, a little bit of silliness and a little bit of deep chat. And if you have any thoughts on any of the podcast, please feel free to reach out and get in touch. We love hearing from you.
Yep, you can find us on Instagram at Dates, Weights and Protein Shakes. We're also on TikTok at Dates, Weights, Protein Shake. And you can also find us on our website where you can find all of our episodes, and you can also reach out to us on a forum that we have there for any thoughts or feedback. And that's at datesweightsandproteinshakes.com.
And if you do enjoy the podcast, please remember to subscribe and turn notifications on so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. We are on YouTube, so please subscribe to us there if you like watching the videos. If you like listening to the podcast, you can find us on Spotify, SoundCloud, and all good places you get your poddies. And until next time, may all your squats be deep
and your spines be neutral.